to the second Sunday of Advent. Have you noticed on YouTube that it does a screen grab? The first Sunday I was doing this, so I don't know how to do those screen grab things. It doesn't grab me. So welcome to Sunday of the second week of Advent. As I mentioned to you last week when we began, I have a song I'd like to share a little of every Sunday of Advent. It's the Advent wreath hymn. I've already lit my second candle back there. So if you haven't lit your second candle, do it during this prayer, during this song. This song was actually written for the lighting of the candles of the Advent wreath. So if you know a choir director who next year wants to do that, I'd be happy to send them my chords, or they can figure it out. I write simple songs sometimes. Come, O light of Jesus, every waiting hour calls us to repentance, your manifested power. May this second candle increase each heart's desire to live a holy Advent, illumined by your fire. Come, O light of Jesus. Bless us in this second week of this season of holy anticipation, of this season of spiritual preparation, watching, waiting, wondering, and next week we'll talk about a little bit the wandering, because next week I'll do some reflections on an Advent preparation for reconciliation and going to confession before Christmas, which is always a good thing to do, I think. I did it long before I was a priest, and now I do it all the time because I'm a priest. Today is the 6th day of December. This year, it falls on the second Sunday. But the 6th of December is the feast of St. Nicholas. And I've learned to love St. Nicholas. I don't know, most of us probably learned about him under the German title Sinterklaas, or Santa Claus in English translations. But I want to share with you, one of the ways that I have come to love Advent is coming to love some of the feast days in Advent, like St. Nicholas. And if you really think about it, St. Nicholas serves a great purpose to inspire us to holy living. He's not a cartoon character. He's not an animated figure. He was a real person who was called by the Lord to be a priest, called by the church to be a bishop, and by the way he lived his calling, and everyone's calling is not the same, but by the way he lived his calling, he became a saint. Just a little from my chapter on St. Nicholas in my book. I call it Nicholas More or Less. My appreciation of St. Nicholas came late, probably 40 years late. In my childhood, Christmas themes included only Jesus Christ's birth and the Santa Claus narrative, and honestly, not in that order until some growing had occurred. The process of maturing has absolutely put Jesus first where he belongs, and that thought has become a strong undercurrent of much of my Advent and Christmas seasons as a priest. I've been a die-hard Santa fan in the past, so I understand the whole hold that this famous figure in the red suit has on many people and many families. My friend Father Ray Downey, who grew up in the house across the street from me on Stevenson Street in South Buffalo, he and his father could have been department store window display designers. I know that his dad, Joe, washed windows in a long-gone downtown Buffalo department store called Flint and Kent's. Perhaps that's where their art of professional Christmas decorating came from, although department stores don't wash their windows in Buffalo in December, or they end up adding a delightful coating of ice to the window decorations. Before Thanksgiving dinner's dessert came anywhere near digestion, the Donahues across the street began hanging Christmas lights around their front hall windows. I would be green with envy, and also delighted to see that taking place, for any hint of Christmas was just a thrill to me as a kid, and now. Even though my parents' annual response to seeing them do that was, "No, Bill, it's too soon to decorate this house. We wait until at least December 15th. If only I knew that Nicholas's feast day was the 6th, I could have negotiated. Anyway, one year, I invited my mother to come across the street to the Donahue's house with me to see their mantle display in their home and the rotating aluminum Christmas tree, yes, and elaborate garlands over doorways. She was notably impressed, but on the way back across the street, she uttered the Cass Quinlivan version of what Ralphie, the kid in A Christmas Story, hears when he asks for a Red Ryder BB gun. "You'll shoot your eye out." My mother's declarative sentence was not so violent, but just as determined. Too many Santa Clauses. Of course, this led to an informal Santa count. When our decorations finally were freed from their boxes in the attic, we certainly had only a fraction of the Donahue's collection of jolly old elves, but then we also had only about 1/5 of their total decoration inventory. And this was decades prior to the introduction of those storage rental units people get for their safekeeping of their excess stuff. Secretly, I consoled myself with the thought that one day I would have my own home and decorate as much as I wanted. The boxes of unused decorations currently crowding my rectory basement are evidence that I followed through on that foolishness. I'm convinced that my mom's too many Santa Clauses conclusion was part of her desire to make sure that our Christmas was centered on the birth of the Savior, and our Advent was spiritual. Not that the Donahues wasn't. But decades later, I discovered St. Nicholas, the true and not to be secret identity of Mr. Claus. I wish now that I could time travel back to 1970 to make a case for December 6th. After all, it was a saint's feast day. There's Jesus all over that, isn't there? I took the popular pop Christmas song, Jolly Old St. Nicholas, which is public domain, so I can use this melody. Thank you, whoever you are, generations ago, who wrote this song and died so that I don't have to get a copyright to use it. I call it Holy Good St. Nicholas. I think that really is the focus of our December 6th. It's not only put your shoes out the night before. See if you get something sweet. Let's listen to this reflection in music with a little bit of a wink to Santa. Holy good St. Nicholas, posters we will paint, got to tell the whole wide world that you are a saint. As a bishop in your life, wonders never ceased. From your childhood, Jesus called you to be a priest. Holy good St. Nicholas, Christmas makes us pause. Will we see you at the mall, dressed as Santa Claus? Is not love the perfect gift Jesus gives for free? So who needs computer games in eternity? Holy good St. Nicholas, how you intercede, praying for the little ones, children all in need. When we give with generous hearts, all the poor are blessed. We love you, St. Nicholas. We think you're the best. We love you, St. Nicholas. We think you're the best. Our brothers and sisters in the Eastern Byzantine Catholic Church have it all over us when it comes to St. Nicholas. We Roman Catholics need to catch up. They have icons of St. Nicholas throughout the year, not just on December 6th, in most of their churches, up on the altar and the side altar. And they also have a great devotion to Nicholas for his holiness. And in the season of Advent where we're thinking about planning, even doing some shopping, whether online or in person, what we might give as a gift, think about St. Nicholas and what he did. This is the beautiful story of Nicholas you probably know, but is worth repeating, as all great stories are. Is that when there was a father in the town where he lived who had 3 daughters, and they were quite poor. One of the daughters wanted to get married, but she did not have a dowry. So Nicholas found out about that, and he put some coins in a stocking or a sock, and at night he stealthily tossed it in the window. And when they found the money, they had what they could for that daughter to get married. So then it came time for the second daughter and the third, and 3 different times this mysterious donation of generosity came in. Have you ever done an anonymous giving in this season of giving? Have you ever done that thing? I know of, actually it's Donny Osmond and his wife Debbie and their family have done a thing for many years that I read about on Twitter or something a couple years ago. They do a Secret Santa kind of thing. They find out someone in their community where they live in Utah who is having an especially bad year. Someone lost a job, they have an illness in the family or death in the family, and they know they're going to have a difficult Christmas. And they never tell the people that they're going to do this, but they buy a bunch of surprises and gifts, and they sneak up when no one's home or when it's dark and leave the gifts on the front porch. They ring the bell and run, and they never take public credit for it. So isn't that a beautiful idea? One time I knew someone who was having a difficulty, and I was able to write a check. I got a money order because the check would have been obvious, had my name on it. And it really is a special joy when you have it. And I had it that year, I had extra. When you can give to someone in need. Many of our charities are struggling this particular Advent. Think of the places in your area or missions, foreign missions that you can support, that because of COVID-19, because of people having lost jobs or at least been laid off for a long period of time, living on unemployment, a lot of the charities are in great need this year. And although you cannot do, at least at our church, we're not doing our warming tree where we have people donate hats and scarves and mittens. They give mittens for the missions of the local people who might be cold. Still, cold hard cash or a check or an online gift, which is a great opportunity for many charities this day, really can help to fill in those gaps that have been created in this year to make this particular Advent an especially challenging year for people financially, but to make this particular Advent a unique opportunity for us to, like St. Nicholas, to imitate St. Nicholas anonymously. Now, you know what anonymously means. You can't claim it on your income tax as a write-off, as a charitable donation. Now, you can when you give to charities, or your church, or your parish. Lest I forget, please give a gift to your church this Christmas. We're all struggling too. But think of the needy, think of the poor, or someone you know in your neighborhood. Give generously, give quietly. I think St. Nicholas would smile. Come, O light of Jesus, Maranatha, Jesus, come. Thank you for joining me today. This week, starting tomorrow, I plan to share with you each day 1 decade of the Advent mysteries of the Rosary as the next part of this retreat. Remember that you're on retreat this week. Pray for each other. Accept other people's prayers. And I would add, pray for your priest. Why not? We'll take it. God bless you. Hope to see you tomorrow. I hope you're enjoying this retreat.